Hey everyone, this is Tuesday afternoon me, and I'm doing an intro for Sunday morning me. Sunday morning me did the whole video and then forgot. I've been so tired this week that I just didn't even think about getting the video edited, didn't even think about the video to be honest. So this is me Tuesday afternoon, fresh out of the car from work. So I thought I will get this done this afternoon. I didn't have a lot to talk about, so obviously you're going to see that if you keep watching. But since I did that one on Sunday, I really haven't been doing much of anything because, like I've said, no markets, nothing much to catch up on. So just adding on to the video that's about to come, I am working on my sheep pattern. And at the moment it's looking a little bit like a Dalek, so hopefully once I get ahead on it, it will look more like a sheep. But my goodness, it feels beautiful. I'm using these granny square balls of chenille that I got super duper cheap. So that's really lovely. So that's coming along. If you are after an update on my farm things, which I think I also address in the video. The only other thing, I don't know if you remember, I asked you ages ago if you were at local and you're going to Spotlight if you found any of this yarn. So I did find some, and I've just found over the last couple of days, this is the original one, and this is the new one that I found, and it's basically the same colors, but these ones it's just much stronger. So I've been doing these, just smashing these out when I haven't got the brain power for anything to do with a pattern. So yeah, that's really interesting how that came about. I don't know if anyone knows what brand, someone did know, I think it was Litza, knew what brand that was and told me, but is that common for these mill ends to come out in, like, I know there's different dye lots, but those colors are much more vibrant than these colors for supposedly the same yarn. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. I've got a whole bunch of 7-row squares. So if you've got any ideas on what to do with that, I would love to hear them. I was thinking of a jumper, but it doesn't feel very comfortable, and I'm sure it's going to pill. So then I thought of a blanket, but how many crocheted blankets does one person need? So then I thought of a floor ornament, but then if I walk on it or something, it's going to get all peeled. So what are your ideas for random granny squares? Let me know, please, and thank you. The weirder the better, and something useful that's not just going to be a dust collector. So anyway, on with the rest of the video. I just wanted to stop by to say shame on Sunday me. I had good intentions, and then that was as far as I got. So on with the video, and I will see you maybe on the weekend or possibly again next week. Hi everybody, thanks for coming. I have a few things to show you this week. Not a great deal because there's no markets for another 2 weeks yet, so hopefully that will go ahead, and then I'll have a market recap for you. But this week I don't have a market restock, I don't have market makes, that kind of thing. So what I've been doing in the last week is working on the Crochet Roulette 2025. So I've got my variegated Australian animal to show you, plus we've got the spins for next week. I have been working on my farm animals pattern, and in between that taking breaks with just making some other random things that I'll show you as well. I have, in about 1 hour, Big Fat Pig testicle closes, and I've got a list of people who would like to test Big Fat Pig. Here is Big Fat Pig again. It's very simple, really simple. So that's coming out soon, so keep an eye on that. The test will be over the next week. If you messaged me on here, or if you, I haven't seen any emails, but there's been a few people message me through Instagram. So if you message through less than usual means about being a tester and I missed you, please let me know. There's a few people in my Instagram, as I said, there's about 15, so I'm going to have to actually pick and choose this time, which I hate doing. But I do have a few people that I reached out to as well who'd said that they would like to test but weren't sure how to go about it. So I appreciated when people gave me a shot when I first had a go at pattern testing. So I would love to be able to give those people a bit of experience with pattern testing too, and it hopefully will help them next time they apply. So I have been, as I said, working on my farm animals pattern. That's coming along. I've done the chicken, I've done the cow, and I'm in the process of doing the sheep, which I had not actually recorded. So I'm trying to work out how I did that. I've got that down now. So now it's just the pig, and then I'll be done as soon as Big Fat Pig testicle is done. So in between doing all those pattern things, I took a few breaks. I just used up some yarn that was sitting around, and I've made a couple of turtles. These are just freehand turtles with your basic flappers, a ball for a head, a few rounds of increase, and a ruffle around the edge. Nothing fancy, But yeah, just your standard turtle. I enjoy making those because they're a nice no-brainer. The thing that I don't like is, I mean, I don't mind sewing parts on. I just don't like sewing these flappers on for some reason, because you just got to make sure you get them in the right place, and I'm not that careful. This little turtle was, oh sorry, this one was, I think that's one of the green mysticals, and that's one of those variegated Indian yarns that we get from the Spotlight Millions. This one is a burlap blanket, I'm pretty sure, from the Millions, but this is one that I picked up on a website, and I think it was Craft to You, and I think it came in like a cake, but I've rewound it into a ball because that's what I do. But I really like this one. It's a nice smooth chenille. It's come out, it's kind of come out like with all the purple clustered there and the light purple there. But anyway, it looks all right. So that's just another freehand turtle. Off to markets, because I did actually realise, even though I said I don't need any inventory, I did realise when I did my pop-up market at school that I did not have many turtles. So there's 2 turtles ready to jump into my very, very full inventory bags. I'm going to stack them up there. Excuse me. Okay. The next thing was a couple of drift octopuses, because I oh no, actually I lie. 1 drift octopus. This one I will never, ever, ever do again. I did and it's not the pattern. I did a black drift, and I really, really like it, but oh my goodness. There is a part on here where you have to work in the front loop only, and what idiot decided that black yarn front loop and back loop would be an idea? That ain't going to happen again. So I love it. I love the fact that it just has these little curls at the end of the legs, and I know you can't see that a great deal because it is quite dark. It's got some dark brown glitter eyes going on there, which I really like. Overall, yeah, the pattern's great. So that's by, I think, Crochet Carpenter. It will be linked in my document, which is below. But yeah, just the only thing I didn't love about that was the black. And, you know, we all know that black's really tricky, and I was just too lazy to turn on, you know, I've got a lamp that you can shine directly onto this, and I just never did. So anyway, yeah, drift octopus, absolutely love it. Might be handy, like Halloween's coming soon, and I'm not real big on Halloween, and Halloween's not real big here. I mean, it's starting to be, but it's not. It's almost not worth making anything at markets for Halloween. I think I made 4 little Frankensteins and a ghost last year, and I sold the ghost, and I've still got all the Frankensteins. So yeah, it's not really something that I would bother doing, but you never know. I could make a little Halloween section with just my black stuff. So drift octopus, absolutely love him. You can sit over there with the turtles. I know you can't see those. So then there's been so many people, and I know Tracy's been doing it and some other people have been doing it, but they were making spiders, and I really, 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 I showed you a dragon a few weeks ago. I'll put a picture up here if I can find one, but I made a dragon out of a white chenille mixed with a multicolored fluorescent variegated acrylic yarn, and I wanted to do a white one and a black one, but I just wanted to do something a little bit quicker. I was having a break between doing some pattern stuff, so I made a spider because everybody seems to have been making these spiders. So again, possibly Halloween, although it wasn't in my head at the time. It is now. This was a free pattern on Instagram, and I just had a quick go, and it's really hard to see in the camera because it is so black and my room is so dark. But anyway, it's a black blanket with variegated fluorescent coloured acrylic yarn. It's got, I don't know if you can tell there, but it's got a big eye and a little eye at the front. The legs you were supposed to start like surface crochet and go along, but no. And so I did the legs separately on one strip and then stitched that on, which worked out quite well for me because it was just too hard to do with that yarn to see them where I should get into the stitches. And anyway, I think I did the stitch count a little bit off too, so I had to do them separately and attach them afterwards. But yeah, that's my little spider. Kind of happy with that. So actually, now that I'm talking about it, maybe they could be part of a Halloween kind of thing. Next market is the 13th of September, so not quite Halloween. The one after that would be mid-October, so that's probably more likely. As I said, it's not really a thing here though, so we'll see. Anyway, I don't mind that. It is hard to see, but I might try a couple in a different type of yarn. I do like the way his little butt sticks up. That's kind of cute. So there's those. The next thing I did was, you may remember I did this not that coordinated. You may remember I did this eel that's behind me, and that was a free pattern on Instagram, and that is linked below in my pattern links document. So I kind of took the idea of that. I liked the way that the body joins onto the head with a kind of a hinge, so that it can be a normal sitting up plushie, or it can be a lay down flat kind of splooting thing. So I just kind of took that idea, and look, I didn't open the pattern, so it's not a direct copy of that pattern, but I used the idea of the hinge and I used the idea of the head shape. So I just sort of freehanded this one based on the idea of that. So it does have the same head hinge there, so it can sit like a plushie, or it can lie down flat with its head up. Yeah, it's not the same dimensions. I did the arms and legs completely differently and the tail differently too, but I made my first zebra. So that's my little zebra. And I don't know if you remember, a couple of months ago I bought a handful of eyes from the sewing basket, sorry. So that's those eyes, those little blue safety eyes, and I think they work out really good on that one. So that is my very first zebra, and it's just got some little loops there on the top. And so I did well, obviously the ears are different because it's not donkey, just some little ears. I did a tail using two colours at once, and I wanted it to turn out stripy, so I just fiddled around with the way that I fed the two yarns through the hook, and it sort of came out a little bit stripy. I have burned the ends there because this is the sheddiest chenille in the universe, so hopefully that will be fine. And yeah, so that's my little zebra. Don't mind it at all. So what else did I do? The other day, I was kind of bored with doing patterns and sick of looking for something to watch on TV. So I did that thing where I just grab my hook, grab a ball of yarn, and I get started. I'm just going to grab a ball of the yarn to show you why I hate it. I'll be back in 1 second. This is the Bella Baby. I think it's Bella Baby. It's from Spotlight. Sorry, I can't read it. Yeah, this is Bella Baby Nippers. It's like a velvet, but it's not as easy to work with as a velvet. It says that you should use a 4.5. Well, that's funny because that's what I ended up using. So maybe the mistake was me all along. I was using a bigger hook because it felt thicker, and it was really, really gappy, and it was kind of, I want to say squeaky. It didn't slide or glide on the hook as much as I would like it to. And like I said, it was tremendously gappy. So I'm guessing now that was my fault. But anyway, I grabbed a bag of a dozen of those for, I think it was a dozen balls for $12. So $1 a ball, all pale blue. So I've been trying to use those up. So I sat down and started crocheting, as I do. And I started out with no idea, and what I generally do when I see what pops out of my hook is I just start making a circle, and then as I go I just sort of get different ideas pop in my head, and I might go one direction, might go another. This one changed so many times that it is not funny at all. So when I started making this one, I really didn't have any idea. I just started with a circle again. And then as the circle started growing, I thought, okay, I'm going to make something with a great big round belly on it. And so then I started increasing to make a big round belly. And then it kind of tapered off into a sort of a teardrop shape. And I thought, oh, well, I'll probably do something that has like the hinge like this does. But then when I got to that point of it, I didn't like it. And I didn't like the idea of it having a big belly anymore. So I ended up with this big teardrop shape thing with a kind of a pooch on one side. And then I thought, well, if I tip it sideways, it looks like a whale. So I thought, great, I've made a whale. And so I started tapering the tip of it off and curving it up a little bit. And then the idea was that I was going to put two fins on it. And by the time I'd done that and I'd made a fin, I didn't like it anymore. So I pulled the fin out, frogged just the tiniest couple of rows off the end of that tail, and sort of turned it around a little bit. And I thought, right, I've lost the belly, but I've got a lovely sticky out bit. And so a plan came to mind. So I ended up making two legs, and I made two arms, and I made a head and some ears. And I have made a bear. This is called a bear bum. And the reason that it's called a bear bum, and this is something that I never do because I don't really like, I don't hate them, but they don't grab me when you put the butts on things. So anyway, this is a bare bum because the big fat belly that I did actually turned out to be a big fat butt. So look, it's not too big, it's not too in your face, but it was just the right shape. So if I turn that sideways, this was going to be something with a big fat belly. And then it was going to be a whale. So body, it didn't have that pointy butt. Little bear's been working out. He's got some good butt muscles. It was going to be the tail and then curving up with some whale tail on it and then maybe a couple of fins on the side. But it ended up being a teddy bear with a butt, excuse me. So yeah, this is a bear butt. Little embroidered eyes, little embroidered nose. I like the way that it came together. So I did a big fat head. I wanted the head to be slightly wider than the body, but this is really squat sort of head. The ears are just it's like a circle, but with it's like if you cut one slice out of a pizza, they turned out that way so that they'll shape around the head. And then I just put a single crochet around the top so you can see they're kind of like a lily pad, I guess, like the way the edge of a lily pad folds up. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a shape on the arms there to make a paw, little bit of a shape to make the legs, flat seam to stitch the legs on the side, flat seam to stitch the arms around the neck part there, and then I just decided that I would add a little belly button. And this one turned out really good. So I used the 4.5, and it took a long time because I never worked with a 4.5, and we all know that that's going to take forever. But the yarn was relatively thick, and look how nice it turned out. You can see stitches and you can see rows, and it's not too twisted. So yeah, that's my bear butt with his little butt. And so I figured at markets, if somebody didn't like the butt, I could easily just cut that thread. So yeah, that's my bear butt. Don't know what I'm going to price that one at yet because it did take a while. Has got a lot of stitches in it because it was a small hook. But yeah, maybe somebody might like a little bear butt. It's got no safety eyes, so it might be okay for a little baby. No, it's just my eyes. I thought there was a big dirty mark on there, but there's definitely not. So yeah, that's my bear butt. Other than that, the only other thing that I've made, excuse me for leaning in, the only thing that I've made this week then, other than the stuff that I've been crocheting for my pattern, is Crochet Roulette. So Crochet Roulette 2025 is well and truly underway. People have been joining in on Instagram using the hashtag Crochet Roulette 2025. And you'll probably find lots of people on the YouTubes. Well, you'll probably find 10 of us on YouTube's doing our makes for this week. So variegated Australian animal is what came up. And so I did another thing where I had an idea, could not be bothered looking for a pattern. So I just sat down with my hook and I made a baby emu. So for the Northern Hemisphere, one particular region in particular, it's not an emu. It's not an emu, it's an emu. So I know we all say things differently, but I mean, they come from here and they're called emus. It's an emu. Anyway, this is a baby emu, and the variegated part, and I don't know if you can see it too well, but the variegated part is that yarn, excuse me again, that yarn that I showed you last time. I used that for the feathers. So now the idea was that it was supposed to be mostly variegated, and I'm going to say that the crochet part was not so variegated. So I've just used an Aldi Peach chenille for the body and the head, and I've used the variegated for the feathers. Now I'm going to say that mine is mostly variegated yarn as far as time goes, because the crochet part didn't take long at all. Tying these feathers on, that took me forever because each one of those is just a separate piece of yarn. And then he needed a haircut to try and make him the right shape, because when you look at an emu, the tail feathers hang down a little bit further at the back. And I know that baby emus don't look like this and they have fuzz instead of the long parent feathers, but I don't care because they're also not this colour. So this is my baby emu. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a pattern written down. So please don't ask for it because I'm not doing it. and it's got little fluffy bits on its head, and it's got little knots on the knees because I do like putting the little knots on the knees, and it sits quite nicely on a shelf. So there we go. That's this week's Crochet Roulette 2025. One variegated Australian animal, a baby emu with a U in it. If you want to call it an emu, that's completely up to you. Just know that we all think it sounds really weird. Okay, so that's everything that I made this week. I don't have anything else to show you that I've made. What we can do now is I can insert the video of the spinners for week 2, and then everybody can have a look at those and we can have a talk about what they might be. So let me put those in and then I will come back to you. So we have farm animals in brown. So that works out really well because I'm in the middle of doing my farmyard patterns and I'm immediately thinking maybe a horse. I don't have a horse in the farmyard animals that I've made. So I might fiddle around with a horse this week and see if I can do one. The thing that is confusing me is how I would do it because they are a cone shape at the top, but a horse needs a long face. So I might have I've got a week to think about it. So that might be where I'm going. Let me know in comments below what you would be thinking for a brown farmyard animal. I mean, that's everything, isn't it? Because you could have a chicken, or maybe not so much a sheep, or, you know, cows, a pig covered in mud. Ooh, a pig covered in mud. Okay, so there's quite a few options anyway. So join in with that one on Instagram. You can just put your picture up with the hashtag of Crochet Roulette 2025, and we would all love to see what it is that you make. Maybe you could share the flyer with your friends and get some more people on board. That would be fabulous. Pop over to the other 9 YouTube channels and have a look at what they've been doing for this week's challenge as well. The last 2 things that I was going to mention. I have had a lovely morning winding yarn. I do love winding yarn into balls. I don't have any machine to do it or anything, so I just like to sit there and do that while I'm watching something. And I bought a couple of months ago, or a few months ago now, looking at them up there, I got these at Spotlight, and there was 1, 2, 3, a dozen cakes in a bag, and they were $5. They were reduced from $50 or $60 down to $5 for the 10 cakes of this chenille yarn. They are intended to be a granny square, so you start them from the middle, and then you make a granny square out of each ball, and then they turn into a rug. But I figured for $5 to get a little bit of each of those colours, that's not too bad at all. And I have been using this one to work on my farmyard sheep pattern, the white. It's really lovely to work with. It is quite thin though, so when I make something out of that, it turns out small. I tried doubling it up, but I would have to go with a 9mm, and I just could not be bothered fiddling around with a 9mm hook at the moment. So I've had a lovely time this morning, and I'll show you what I got out of 5 of these. So they're very, very light. I'd say they're probably not even a 50 gram. Maybe they are a 50 gram, but they're very, very light anyway, because the yarn itself is cheap and nasty and light. But out of 5 of those, I got this. So there's the original cake, obviously squishy and loose. This is one of the balls. So that's 5 of these. I got that much white out of it. And then I got, oh, it's all unwound even though I had a thing on it. So there's the cake. I got out of 5 balls this much of this lovely peppermint green. And then I got, this is a pale lime green. It's almost a sherbety sort of colour, or a gelato, I guess. So it's that lovely green. I got that much of that. And then I got this much of a nice lemon yellow. It's not quite a baby yellow. It's just a little bit darker than that. And then this is the last one. It's not much of that. So this is the pink from you can't even see it, but right there in the center, there's a little bit of pink that makes the center ring of the granny square. So I got that much of the pink. So they're quite nice. I mean, they're beautifully soft, very, very, very soft, but there's not much of them. So that's been lovely this morning, just doing not much of anything, taking a break from patterns and stuff and just winding balls of yarn. I did get 2 packets. So as well as this one, I did get one that has white with black and then dark grey light grey, and I want to say yellow. I can't see it up there. It has another colour anyway. But I found when I take the white off that ball, it's that the black has sort of somehow rubbed off onto the white, and so it's not pure white. And also it seems to be a different white. So when I use a white from this one and a white from the one that has black in the center, one of them turns out to be a cold white and one's a warm white. And I didn't realize until I was halfway through a pattern and there was just these two different whites in it, which was really weird. I don't know why the other one has so much black on it. It doesn't appear to be just the fuzz from the black yarn. It appears that the color has sort of transferred a little, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all of that, but which is why I've put so when I roll the ball, I use like a bobby pin or hairpin to hold the end. I've put a little clipping so that I know that this is the white that came from the green ball, not the black ball. So, you know, sometimes saving $50 on a whole bunch of yarn is maybe a little bit more trouble than it's worth, but anyway, it's nice to have that to do. I do love winding yarns. When I was up at Tracy's last school holidays, she had a couple of yarn drawers in her coffee table, and I had a delightful time there winding her yarn. And Tracy, I'm sorry if you don't like having a drawer full of balls, but it was fun to do. So there's that. Then, unless I think of something else, the final thing that I was just going to have a chat about is my jacket. This is the first hexie that I ever made. So a colleague at work, her mum passed away, and she brought me back, after she'd been to clean up her mum's house, she brought me back bags and bags and bags of yarn. And in that was some really expensive stuff. So a lot of beautiful balls of wool. I haven't got them here, but a lot of beautiful balls of wool that her mum had bought from Bendigo Woolen Mills. I'm not sure what to do with that because it's really crunchy. I did donate quite a bit of it to the sewing basket, so things that I knew I would never use because, you know, that was, she'd said, oh, I want to take all this to sewing basket, you take what you want. And she doesn't have a car, so she carried this on the bus over a period of days. She travels 90 minutes to work, so anyway, so I thought, yeah, I'll definitely donate the things that she asked me to donate, but she said, keep anything that you like. So, yeah, I kept this yarn, and it's a Cartier yarn, a Cartier cotton. So this whole jacket is made out of variegated cotton. I'm going to show you the back because the back looks exactly the same as the front. Are the sides different? Yes, the sides are different. So you know how hexies go. You make the hexie and then you fold it into a T-shape kind of deal. And then I used another cotton to create the border, and I've got a hood on the back there too. Let me show you that. So there's a bit of a hood going on there with slightly different colours in it because I did run out of the yarn that she gave me, so I had to go and buy a few different colours. But it's not all Cartier, but it is mostly Cartier. And so this is like freaking expensive. Like there is easily $150 worth of cotton in this. The issue I have with this is I like it. And when I've worn it at markets, people are like, oh my God. But it's not warm in winter, and it's way too heavy for spring and summer. And so I'm going to frog it. So I thought I'd just wear it one last time and say, hey, look, I made this hexie and it took me forever, and I really love the colours, and it cost an absolute bomb. Well, it didn't cost me a bomb because I was given most of the yarn, but if you were to sell that, you would have to sell that for hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get back the time and the yarn cost. So yeah, I'm going to frog it. It's going to be painful because I know how long it took to make this, but look, like I said, it's no good for winter because it's not warm. The cotton is not warm. It's no good for summer because this is a couple of kilos. It's really, 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 really heavy. It's no good for in between seasons because it's too heavy. Anyway, it's not fit for purpose. It has a lot of yarn in it that I could do something else with. So I am going to frog this. I don't know. Any suggestions on what I can do with all of this yarn would be fabulous. It's too thin for plushies. Although I shouldn't say that. It's not too thin for plushies. It's just going to take a while. The other thing is that because I have worn it a couple of times, some of the yarn that's not so expensive, so the Cartier didn't do it, but some of the other yarn, which I think might have been some Motivir or something from Spotlight, but it is pilling. There is some pilling happening down here along the edges of the sleeves. I don't know if you can see, but around there's a bit of pilling on the cuffs as well. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to turn out once I frog it. I'm hoping that, well, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me what you think anyway. Some of it I will definitely scrap, like definitely the edges of the cuff here. The hood I've never actually worn. The hood, I don't even know why I put it there. Can't remember. But anyway, yeah, so that's my hexie. I kind of like it, but it's not functional. So it is going to be undone. It's going to be tricky because I'm going to have to do all the seams and I'm going to drive myself nuts, but it might be a school holidays project. We've got holidays coming up in 4 weeks. So 4 weeks, 4 weeks till holidays. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. That's it. I have got nothing else that I need to tell you about. If you are a friend of Litza over at Coco's Crochet, this week you might like to wish Litza a happy Sass week. It's a special week for people in Litza's job. She's probably going to be getting cakes and posters and cards and things at work this week, right on top of her big birthday. I have to go back and watch Litza's birthday video. But yeah, if you're one of Litza's friends, say happy Sass week to Litza, S-A-S-S is how you spell Sass. It is a position in schools that we value very much, and I tend to think is more important than a school principal. So that's it. I will catch you all next time. Let me know what you're making with your, what do you call it, Crochet Roulette 2025. I would love to see those. And that's all. Thank you so much for coming along. See you next time.